What is going on, everybody? It is Aaron Cates and welcome back to the channel. Now today's going to be the start of a new series called the Ultimate Daily Driver. So if you've been a part of this channel for the last couple months, you guys know I bought a 2001 Lexus ES300 to be a daily driver. And well, if you're anything like me, you can't leave anything stock. So I bought this car. It's the first car I've ever owned. I've always been into trucks. I've always owned trucks. And I bought this car to just leave stock. And I told myself, we're only gonna do a radio to it and some speakers, and that's gonna be it. And well, I haven't even done that yet, and we're already modifying it. I've had the car since April, so I've only had it for about 3 months, a little over 3 months, and I've left it completely alone. I've replaced brake pads and an O2 sensor, and I've left it alone, but that time has come to an end. So thanks to today's sponsor, MaxpeedingRods, for making this video possible. So huge thank you to them. Got in contact with them a little over a week ago and let them know kind of my whole plan with the car, and they jumped right on board with it, and they sent us out some coilovers to test on the car, and which are going to be lowering it. So if you guys know anything about me, you guys know I rock lifted trucks. That is all I do, is I lift trucks. I build trucks, I paint trucks, I wrap trucks. Everything I do is lifted. And well, I kind of wanted a change. I wanted something different. So one thing about me, my bucket list is to build one of every vehicle, whether it be a lowered car, a lowered truck, a bad lifted truck, 4-link, a donk, you name it. I want to build it one day in my life because I love vehicles. I don't just love one specific type of vehicles, which a lot of people in the automotive scene are that way. Oh, I only want to do trucks and trucks only. I only want to do cars, cars only. Motorcycles only. There's a lot of people that are like that, but I like vehicles in general. I'm an automotive enthusiast. Automotive being a very wide spread of different vehicles, and that is what I enjoy. So we're going to be lowering the car, but before we just pull these coilovers out, throw them on the car, lay the car down on the ground, anything like that, we're gonna do a before and after. So this car has 273,000 miles. This car has a lot of miles, but it's been very well maintained its whole life. It was originally owned by an older couple in Palatka, Florida, and they took very good care of this car. It still has the original window sticker, original maintenance records. This car doesn't leak a drop of anything. When I got it, it was leaking some transmission fluid, but that's because 13 out of 18 bolts were finger tight. So that could explain why it was leaking transmission fluid. Got all that fixed. This car is tip top. But the driver's side front strut has been making a lot of noise. A lot of creaking noises, worn out bushing noises, just making noises in general. And I can only assume that they're the original struts. So probably doesn't ride as good as it did 20 years ago. We're gonna take the car on a test drive and kind of just see how it rides before we put the coilovers on, give you guys a nice walk around of it, how high it's sitting, get some measurements and everything of it. But for right now, let's go on the test drive. All right, so this is gonna be about the best driving footage I can get you guys. You guys are on the windshield right now, and I'm gonna try and show you guys a little bit how the car rides. I wish I could get a better angle of where I'm sitting and everything like that, but unfortunately I don't have a mount that I can set anywhere. So this is what you guys are gonna get. Okay, so like I said, overall the car really doesn't ride terrible, but definitely could use some new struts at the minimum. And with the way I look at things, if you're gonna spend the money to replace the part, why not upgrade the part? So for 4 struts all the way around this, I believe it was $180 for the front and $150 for the rear. So you're looking right around $230, right? Am I doing math right? No, $330. So for $330, you could, you know, replace all the struts. Or for $321, you could buy some MaxpeedingRods coilovers and lower your car and put it on the ground and modify it. So save $9 and modify your car. Kind of sounds like a win-win to me. Okay, so from the ground to the fender, we're at 27 1/4. And on the front, we're at 26 3/4. And that was the driver's side. So then passenger side, exact same, 27 1/4. And 27. So you open it up and pull this top piece of styrofoam out, and you're gonna have this customer service card, the different products they have. So they have air suspension, carburetors, turbochargers, billet cranks, connecting rods, coilovers. There will be a link down in the description of where to buy all of this. So if you guys are interested in lowering your vehicle, or if you don't have the same vehicle I have and you're just interested in looking, click the link. They make thousands of parts for different vehicles. So this is, oh gosh, I just forgot the name. This is to adjust your coilovers. It has an actual name, but it literally left my head the second I grabbed it. And let's pull one of our coilovers out. You can adjust it with this. You'll crank this collar up and twist this up to lower it. And then if you want to lower it even more, you can crank this up, which will compress the spring, but that will get rid of some of your ride quality. That will make it a lot stiffer and not ride as good. So with these coilovers, you do have camber plates up at the top to adjust your camber. There is a dampening switch right here, so all the way to the left is as soft as you can get it. So I'm going to set it at max softness and kind of just see if I like that or not. If it's too soft and too springy, we'll tighten it up and kind of just see where it's at. But now I can adjust my camber, so if I ever do decide to slam the car on the ground and some aftermarket wheels and I need to camber it out and do the whole like crazy stance thing, I can do that. But I will most likely never do that because I don't like the way that looks, but that's all personal preference. So I'm gonna get to unpackaging all of these, and then we'll jack the car up and start taking it apart. Just like that, we have the tires off. So yeah, this is 100% the original Strut. This thing has definitely seen better days. Now I'm not 100% on that, but I'm going to have a very educated guess that yeah, this is the original Strut, because these might not have came in blue, and someone in the comments that probably knows these better than I do is gonna be like, the original Strut was red, that one's blue, that one was replaced in 1997 before the car even existed. So yeah, I'm just gonna guess and say this is the original Strut. You have these 3 bolts up here. These are what hold it in up at the top. And then if you come down here, you have these two nuts, you have your sway bar, and that's really it besides this brake hose bracket that connects to it. But you have 2, 1, 1, and then 3 up top, and it comes out. So it's really, honestly, super easy to get these out. So I'm gonna go ahead and start getting all this broke free. Well, would it really be a Aaron Cates video if something didn't go wrong? So, I don't know why the Japanese decided this was a good idea, but most vehicles, the sway bar is tapered and it kind of presses itself in when you tighten it. This one has an Allen head. Well, luckily the bottom didn't strip out and make my life hell. I was able to get the bottom bolt off, but this one completely stripped. I got the bolt almost all the way to the end and it just completely stopped. No matter what I do, I can't get it off. So I've gotten the rest of the strut taken apart. Like I said, you have this bolt right here that holds your brake hose and your ABS line on. This clips on right here on the front. You take these 2 bolts out. Realistically, you would take this out and then you're stuck at the top. I have fought that for the last, I'd say, hour. Tried welding an Allen key onto it just so I could get it off and hopefully salvage part of it, be able to just throw a nut on there, not really tighten it down. Just that way there's a sway bar arm on there until I can get one in. But it looks like I'm probably going to run this side without one until I get one in. It's not going to cause your vehicle to wreck or anything. It's just going to have a little extra body roll. So I'm going to get the front, I'm going to get everything back together. I'm going to show you guys, but I'm going to have to take it apart in a couple days and put that sway bar arm in. That way I can give you guys another road test. So I'm going to jump back into putting all this together, but won't be a road test for like another 3 days. So nothing I can do about it, just typical working on vehicles. So with these, you want to make sure that this is completely bottomed out, which it's already got. This top collar already has tension on it. And then with this is what's going to determine your height and everything like that. So if you want it slammed on the ground, you're going to run this collar all the way up and then twist this all the way up until you get it where you want. Now, one thing I've learned just from forums and everything with these cars is, for whatever reason, it's really hard to get the front to go super low. You have to change out springs and everything like that. I don't know how true that is, but I'm not going to bottom this out. I'm going to run it like halfway up and see where that gets us. If that puts the car too low, then we'll jack it back up and raise it up some. If it puts the car too high, we'll jack it up and lower it some. Just kind of gonna probably put it about where it's at, lock it in, and kind of just see where we're sitting. Alright guys, don't let the seat kick your behind like it did to me. So you have one 12mm bolt right down here in the corner. The second you get the bottom section of the seat out, it literally just pops up. You grab the front of it. Where these black pieces are, there's 2 clips. You pop those 2 clips up and the bottom comes out. No problem at all. And then you have a 12mm that goes right down over here on the side. It's on both sides. And then there's gonna be two 12mm in the very center where these little tabs are right here. You take those out, and if you pull the seat belt on the sides around the side of the seat, and it will pick up on the seat, I mean pick up a lot, these little tabs right here slide down in there. So you have to pick it up high enough for all three of those to come out. There's three all the way across. And I'm gonna tell you, they are a pain to do by yourself. If you have someone with you, you can both simultaneously pick up the seat, it's not too bad. But doing it by yourself, not gonna lie, is a pain. But as soon as you get in here and you look, right there is your strut. So it's a lot more accessible on the driver's side than it is the passenger side. So right here is your strut. And you just repeat the same process you did on the front. So you take your sway bar off on this side, you have your two bolts, you disconnect your brake line right there, and it drops right out the same way it does in the front. Alright everybody, unfortunately my camera battery died at the car wash, and I'm not driving back to the house to get a camera battery just to leave again, so we're going to be using my phone for the rest of this video. So I officially got the car completely lowered. I'm still waiting on my 5mm spacers for the rear, so the rear can't go any lower for right now. It actually started rubbing on the driver rear tire, and I had to pull it off, crank it up a little bit more, and we're all clear back there now. But when those 5mm spacers come in, I'll be able to lower it even lower in the rear. But I've had 2 days to drive this car around. This is the third day I've been driving it since it got lowered. I went in and I lowered the rear all the way down once I got the sway bar linkage in. And to be completely honest, it did not lower it that much. And I've done some research and I've looked at some things online about this car. There's not a lot online, but there are some forums, there are a couple Facebook groups. There's like 3 YouTubers on all of YouTube that have made videos on this. And apparently it's a common issue with MaxpeedingRods coilovers. Apparently, even at the lowest setting, they do not go low enough. That apparently these are 80 kilogram springs or something like that. And you have to get the 6K from Swift or whatever to lower it all the way down as low as you'd want to go. With these coilovers set at the absolute lowest setting, it only lowered the car in the front about an inch and a half. It looks a lot lower just because you go from what it was before to now, and I have tires that are like an inch oversized from stock. These are like 27s, and this car came with stock with like 25 and a half, 25 or 26, like somewhere in there. So these tires are already bigger than what's supposed to be on this car. And lowered all the way down, I'm still clearing these tires. I'm not rubbing anywhere. The only place I'm rubbing is on the coilover in the back, but that's not MaxpeedingRods' fault. That's just as I'm running stock wheels and tires. But it does not get very low. You guys might be able to tell that in the B-roll. Before we lowered it, it was at 27 3/4 in the front, I believe. I have it written down, so if I'm wrong, I'll put that up on the screen. But that's what it, oh, what is my hair doing? There we go. That's what it was in the beginning, and now it's right at 26. So it did not get a lot lower, and it's kind of frustrating, but I'll look online and see how much those springs are to put on these coilovers. Coilovers don't ride bad whatsoever. The only thing I can say is make sure you preload your springs. So tighten it all the way up as much as you can by hand. Don't use the spanner wrench. Tighten it up all the way by hand, just by turning the spring. It'll tighten until it's not going to turn on its own anymore. And then take the spanner wrench and give it like 2 turns and then lock it in place. If you don't do that, they are going to make a lot of noise when you drive. I found that out the hard way. I didn't preload them. I was like, oh, I'll turn them up a little bit and that'll be fine. I kind of figured they came preloaded. They did not. So I had to preload them, and the fronts are all the way down. They're at the softest setting, and it doesn't really ride that bad. It doesn't ride a lot different than it did before. It's definitely stiffer, but there's less body roll, which is what I was wanting. I like the whole Lexus, like floating on a cloud type deal, but at the same time, I want the vehicle to feel like it's part of the ground, not like I'm sitting on a magic flying carpet like I'm Aladdin. So, like I said, I've had some time to drive the car around. We're gonna get some footage here in just a second of driving it down the road, but it does do a whole lot better. All right, so I am using my phone, so I'm going to be holding it, unlike in the before video of the camera being mounted to the windshield. So these are the railroad tracks from the first video. We're gonna see how the car handles going over top of them. That's a big ass raccoon. Oop, I scraped in the back. I didn't scrape on the ground, I scraped on the tire. Okay, so I wanted to refilm this outro. This is about a week and a half, 2 weeks since I filmed this video. Since then, I have taken the car on an 8-hour round trip. 4 hours south, 4 hours back north. I've done a lot of driving. I've probably put, I'd say, close to 1,000 miles on these coilovers in the last week and a half, 2 weeks. Done a lot of driving. And I have some new opinions on them. That's why I wanted to refilm this outro. The coilovers are making a decent amount of noise. I don't know why, but they keep making noise. I don't understand it, but there's like creaking sounds coming every time the car flexes. It creaks a lot in the back. I put the 5mm spacers on. I clear the coilovers now. I went through and I went to torque everything back down, and I put like 40 foot-pounds of torque onto the upper coilover bolts, and I broke one of the studs. Which, in my opinion, it should not have broke that easily, but that could be my fault. I could have over-tightened it. I just want to make sure it wasn't going to come off. I don't know the torque specs. They didn't come with torque specs. So I was just going off of feel, and I wanted to make sure everything was tight, so I was pushing, and it literally just snapped. So don't know what to do there. Nothing bad about MaxpeedingRods at all. I mean, they lower the car. They're very budget friendly. They're great to work with, for one. They respond very fast. They're very up to date. Like if you have a problem, they respond right away. If you're talking to them, they respond right away, which customer service is like up here for me. Like your products can be shit. If you have good customer service, I'm not gonna talk bad about you. But the coilovers aren't shit. The front, I've got it the lowest setting. It only lowered it, I'd say about 1.5 to 2 inches, which isn't a lot considering the lowest setting, but like the rear, you can drop like 4 or 5 inches with these coilovers. So it's weird how the front works. But I got the sway bar in, I got all of that situated, and the car doesn't ride bad. It does ride stiff. There is a little bit more, the static ride that a lot of car people talk about. It's kind of bouncy, like they say static is coilovers. But my biggest complaint is the noise. I cannot get the coilovers to stop making noise. I've preloaded the springs, I've tightened the springs up, I've loosened them, I've done everything I can. They keep making noise. I don't understand why, but they are. So maybe that's a common thing. I don't know about, whatever, but they're $320 coilovers. Like you get what you pay for at the end of the day. So if you just want to lower your car on a budget, it still drive good. You're not gonna like wreck going down the road or anything. I 100% recommend MaxpeedingRods. There will be a link down in the description. Like I said, guys, they sent these coilovers out for this video, for this car. So I did not pay for these out of pocket. But I'm telling you, if you want to lower your car on a budget, check them out. If you want a turbo kit, you want camshafts, pistons, they make thousands of different parts. They make parts for trucks, guys. Like, I was looking for the next truck I'm gonna buy, and they make parts for it. So like, if you are into trucks, you're into cars, you're into motorcycles, whatever, check out their website. They might have something you might be interested in. They're very budget friendly. This stuff isn't thousands of dollars like BC Racing coilovers. These things are a lot more budget friendly. They're a lot more wallet friendly for people like you and I that are doing this stuff ourselves on a budget. We're not millionaires. We're not out here building SEMA trucks and full JDM cars and stuff like that. We're doing this stuff on a budget. So guys, go check them out. I want to thank you for watching this video, and let me know if you like this series. If so, I can continue it. If not, I can do it off camera. Just let me know, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.